Hey guys, AJR Liberty and Training here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to train your mini horse to rear with a new method that you've never seen before. You might be wondering why you should choose my method over other methods. I believe in a training method that teaches the horse in a calm manner. We've always been taught to move slowly around a horse so we don't spook them, but by throwing your hands into the air, you're probably going to spook them into that upward motion. I have found a better way to train your mini horse to rear. Before jumping into the training, you need to establish some ground manners. This trick can be very dangerous if you don't take the proper steps to train your horse when it is and is not okay to rear. So if you aren't willing to take the proper steps, I'd highly recommend not training your horse to do this. Starting out the training, I like to begin by desensitizing my horse to the whips I might be using each day. So for today's session, I'll be using a riding crop, halter and lead, and some treats as a reward. The next step is to get your horse's full attention. I do this by refreshing the basic Liberty work at the beginning of each Liberty session. I think this is a very fun way to get your horse engaged and to get them paying attention. It's a nice way to start off the training session relaxed, and it also helps them to kind of warm up to whatever you're going to be teaching them that day. Okay, so the next step is the beginning of the actual rear. So in this step, I'm taking my riding crop whip and I'm tapping in between his legs on his chest while holding the rope up, encouraging him to rear. For this step, you need to make sure that you are far enough away so you won't get kicked. You can also do this step by standing to the side of your horse so that you don't get kicked. Now, Buddy already knows this trick, so keep in mind that this will take some time in practice. Any small urge should be rewarded, even if it's just them taking a simple step back. If they're trying to make an effort to do the trick, that's really all that matters. As you can see in this video, Buddy will rear most of the time on command, but however, sometimes he doesn't always just respond right away. This is because he's now taught to rear just by the raise of my hands, so you'll have to bear with me on that part. So after you train your horse to do this, and you're doing it successfully, it's time to advance to the next step. But remember not to advance too soon, and to know when to give your horse a break. Your horse should be rearing nearly as well as Buddy is before you advance. So now we're going to rely on our rope as the main cue. We're still going to use the rope, and we're going to raise both hands to cue the rear. I like to have the riding crop in my other hand, so if my horse doesn't rear, I can reach down and tap them on the chest to remind them. This is going to take time, but eventually they'll understand the cue. Remember that this also is something that horses are going to learn at a different pace, and it's really important to start with a horse that trusts you completely so that you don't scare them. So something else I do also when I start training my horse is I use a vocal cue. I usually try to tell him to rear, and that kind of helps him. And make sure you're enthusiastic about it. If you're not enthusiastic, then they also aren't going to be. So my next step is asking them to rear with only my hands. At this point, I've dropped my halter and my whip. Your horse should stay, so you shouldn't worry about him leaving. If you are, however, concerned, you can just drop the lead rope and let it sit on the ground. So make sure your horse is ready and alert for this cue. And when you raise your hands, ask him to rear. And once he does it, it's really important that you reward this behavior. Usually, I know that Buddy is paying attention and ready to rear because when I bring my hands back, he will kind of put his ears back. Sometimes he'll neigh at me, and then he'll usually take a step back with one of his feet. Now, make sure that your horse doesn't get too carried away with this because you want to make sure that they're only rearing when you throw your hands in the air, not any other time. I would say this trick took a couple weeks for me to completely get down, but once I did, he's remembered it really well. Buddy's a pretty fast learner though, so I would say it can take anywhere from a week to a few weeks, and it really is just going to depend on the horse and the amount of time that you spend trying to train the horse. So the next step I do is teaching them not to respond to the tug of a lead rope. So I put my halter and lead rope back on, and I have them at a stop, and then I pull on the lead rope to get them to go forward. As you may see, Buddy rears the first time. I simply just tell him no, and I don't reward him. I'm going to continue to repeat this step until he'll walk around. Now, Buddy picked this up very quickly and stopped rearing. That's because he's been trained this, so it may take a little bit longer. I think something very important is to remember that you should reward the good behavior, but you should also ignore the bad. Another thing I like to do with my horses in between rears is I like to run around, have them chase me, and just keep them excited and engaged. I've noticed that they don't always want to rear multiple times in a row, and the only time I will ask them to rear multiple times in a row at this point is if I'm not satisfied with the first rear. I use treats as a reward, but simply just petting your horse and telling them they did a good job is also a really good way to let them know that they've successfully done this. Now, I've started to teach Buddy some other tricks also, and I'm going to be bringing my other horses into the videos as well. So I'd really appreciate it if you would like this video, subscribe, and especially go comment down below what you would like to see. I'm planning to do a video on how to do liberty circles, how to train your horse to do that, and then I'm also going to start training Buddy how to do the Spanish walk, and I'm going to be doing a video on that as well. I'm going to try to start incorporating my big horse into these videos also and do some training with her. Hopefully, something that I really would like to train her is how to lay down. And so these are things that you will probably see if you stay tuned to my channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you find success with this new method. And so thanks for watching.